Audiobook Academy Biography presents Bill Clinton. The 42nd President of the United States, Bill Clinton, was impeached in 1996. He was in charge of the country's longest uninterrupted economic growth. Background: he was the 42nd President of the United States from 1993 to 2001, serving in that capacity. When he was elected governor of Arkansas in 1978, Clinton became the youngest governor in the United States. During his tenure as President of the United States, Clinton enacted legislation such as the Family and Medical Leave Act, which he re-elected in 1996. The House of Representatives tried to remove Clinton from office in 1998 after the affair between Clinton and Monica Lewinsky was made public, but the Senate ultimately decided to clear his name in 1999. Aside from his time as president, Clinton has remained active in politics, serving as a fundraiser for his wife's presidential campaigns in 2008 and 2016. Early years: Clinton was born on August 19, 1946, in Hope, Arkansas, as William Jefferson Blythe III. A vehicle accident killed Clinton's father William Jefferson Blythe 3 months before Clinton was born, leaving his mother Virginia Cassidy Blythe to raise him alone. Clinton stayed with his grandparents, Eldridge and Edith Cassidy, while his mother, Virginia, relocated to New Orleans, Louisiana, to pursue a career in anesthesia. Edith and Eldridge both lavished attention on the youngster and stressed the necessity of an education, despite their differing personalities. "My grandparents had an enormous impact on my early desire to learn," Clinton said later. "Counting and reading were taught to me by my parents. When I was 3 years old, I started reading small books." In 1950, Clinton's mother returned to Arkansas with her nursing degree and returned to the Clintons. Later that year, she married Roger Clinton, an automobile salesman, and the family returned to Hot Springs, Arkansas, where Roger Clinton was born and raised. Clinton then adopted his stepfather's surname. Clinton was raised Baptist, despite the fact that neither his parents nor his ancestors were Baptists. He would get up early on Sundays, dress nicely, and walk the mile to Park Place Baptist Church by himself to hear the sermons there. With his stepfather's drinking and aggressive behavior toward his mother, Clinton was more and more troubled as a child. Clinton eventually snapped at the age of 14, when he was almost 6 feet tall. According to him, if he wanted them, he would have to go through him. Even after Roger and Virginia's divorce in 1962 and subsequent reconciliation, the abuse and drinking lingered, and the stress in the home persisted. Education: Clinton graduated from an all-white high school in Arkansas, where he excelled academically and as a saxophonist in the school band. Johnny May Mackey, the principal of Hot Springs High, emphasized the importance of cultivating civic-minded pupils, and she and Hillary Clinton became close friends as a result. Consultation with JFK: Boy State was a program put on by the American Legion to get high school students interested in public service. He was invited to the White House Rose Garden to meet President John F. Kennedy after being elected to represent Arkansas in Boys Nation in Washington, D.C. Iconic images of a generational shift in Democratic leadership have been created by photographing young Bill Clinton shaking hands with President Kennedy. Clinton also had the pleasure of meeting another one of his political heroes, Senator J. William Fulbright, while in Washington. Georgetown University. Following high school graduation in 1964, Clinton enrolled at Georgetown University to pursue a degree in international affairs. The president of his freshman and sophomore classes elected him as the student body president, but he lost the election as a junior. Additionally, he began working for Senator Fulbright, one of Congress' most vocal critics of the Vietnam War, as a Foreign Relations Committee clerk. Clinton eventually came to agree with Fulbright that the war was unethical and counterproductive to the interests of the country. Studying for the bar while serving in the military. In 1968, Clinton was awarded a Rhodes Scholarship to study at Oxford University for 2 years before graduating from Georgetown University. However, Clinton was compelled to return to Arkansas in the spring of 1969 when he got a draft notification. While attending the University of Arkansas Law School, Clinton was enrolled in the ROTC program, but instead of attending law school that autumn, he went back to Oxford, and later claimed he had permission to do so. Clinton resubmitted his name to the draft board, but he obtained a high enough lottery number to guarantee that he would not be sent to Vietnam. At 1970, Clinton returned to the United States to enroll in Yale Law School as a full-time student. Relocate to Arkansas. When the Clintons finished Yale, they moved to the state of Arkansas. The University of Arkansas School of Law in Fayetteville is where Clinton began his career as a political activist and law professor. The year before, he ran against Republican incumbent John Paul Hammerschmidt for a seat in the House of Representatives in the United States. Even though he lost, Clinton's campaign showed that he is a rising star in the Arkansas Democratic Party. Clinton was re-elected as state attorney general a year later. He was elected governor 2 years after he was elected mayor. As the governor of Arkansas, Clinton became the youngest governor in the United States in 1978 when he defeated Republican Lynn Lowe in the Arkansas gubernatorial contest at the age of 32. He was elected to the governorship in 1980, but was defeated by the incumbent the following year. He was again in 1982 and served for 4 terms. During his first tenure as governor, Bill Clinton embarked on an ambitious plan to overhaul the state's education and healthcare systems in conjunction with his wife, Hillary. However, he was limited as governor by his youth and lack of political experience, leading to a number of missteps. After the Fort Chaffee riots by Cuban exiles, Clinton implemented a controversial fee raise on driver's licenses. Arkansas governors at the time were limited to 2-year terms, and Clinton was unexpectedly ousted from office in 1980 by a little-known Republican contender called Frank White. While the defeat hurt Clinton, he refused to allow it to terminate his once promising career in politics. Clinton returned to the governor's race in 1982, this time after a brief stint in the Little Rock office of Arkansas law firm Wright, Lindsey, and Jennings. Clinton returned to the White House for a 4th term after he publicly admitted his mistakes and pleaded with the public for a second chance. For her part, Clinton was a moderate governor who supported a range of issues, both liberal and conservative. He introduced more stringent educational standards and competency exams for teachers by appointing Hillary to lead a group on education reform. Affirmative action was also a priority for Clinton, who appointed a record number of African Americans to high-ranking jobs in the federal government. The death penalty and welfare reforms put in place by Clinton at the same time were favored by Clinton. Furthermore, Clinton's strategy of operating the government like a campaign, relying on surveys all the time and promoting ideas through well-executed public relations efforts, was significant. From 1986 to 1987, Clinton served as chairman of the National Governors Association. President Obama served as chair of the Democratic Leadership Council, DLC, a group of centrist Democrats, at the close of the decade. In 1988, Clinton missed an opportunity to establish himself as a frontrunner for the Democratic presidential nomination by delivering an exceedingly long and tedious nomination address for Michael Dukakis. Clinton soon made light of his poor address on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson in a masterful display of political damage control. Presidential election of 1992. In the Democratic primary in 1992, Clinton comfortably trounced his rivals and was nominated as the party's presidential nominee, with Tennessee Senator Al Gore serving as his vice presidential running mate. With a recession engulfing the United States, President George H.W. Bush was at risk in the 1992 election because he had broken his campaign promise not to raise taxes. Though his campaign was plagued by accusations of draft dodging and rumors of marital infidelity, Clinton managed to turn the story around by portraying himself as a hard-working, family guy. In addition, he was able to effectively convey his economic message, which was bolstered by the phrase "It's the economics, stupid." With the help of billionaire Ross Perot's third-party campaign, Clinton was able to take a sizable chunk of the Republican vote away from President Bush. Clinton became the 42nd President of the United States on November 3, 1992. Accomplishments during the presidency. However, Clinton's first years in office were marked by major victories, such as the Family and Medical Leave Act in 1993, implementation of Don't Ask Don't Tell for LGBT military personnel, and passage of the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA. A comprehensive health care reform bill, championed by First Lady Hillary Clinton and her task group, was signed into law with the goal of ensuring everyone had access to affordable health care. As a result of the bill's failure to pass through Congress, Republicans gained control of both houses of Congress in 1994. President Clinton made an astonishing political recovery in the lead-up to the 1996 election by re-embracing centrist policies and language. Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act of 1994 was enacted by him in 1994, which increased the number of police officers and imposed stiffer penalties for various offenses. It was signed in 1996, when he increased the minimum wage across the country. Additionally, he was able to come out on top of a budget battle with House Republicans in 1995, which led to 2 government shutdowns, the second of which lasted 3 weeks. When he was president, Clinton's biggest achievement was bringing the United States into an economic boom. There were historically low unemployment rates under Clinton's watch, as well as increases in median household income and home ownership rates. President Clinton's foreign policy accomplishments included the 1993 signing of the Oslo Accord between Israel and the Palestine Liberation Organization, which led to the memorable handshake between Yitzhak Rabin and Yasser Arafat, and stabilizing war-torn Bosnia through the Dayton Peace Accord. Clinton's foreign policy record is marred by the failure of the American military mission in Somalia and the following inactivity in the face of slaughter in Rwanda during his first term. With regard to the 1996 election, Clinton won a second term as president in 1996, defeating Republican candidate Bob Dole in a landslide. Relationship with Monica Lewinsky. The Lewinsky affair overshadowed Clinton's second term in the White House. The president initially denied having sex with his White House staffer, Monica Lewinsky, before finally admitting it. An inquiry of Clinton's Whitewater Enterprises as Arkansas governor was expanded by a panel-appointed prosecutor, Kenneth Starr. As a result of the Starr report he released in 1998, he laid out a case for impeachment against President Clinton. As a result of the #MeToo movement, longtime supporters of President Clinton are now questioning his handling of the Clinton-Lewinsky saga. The New York Senator Kirsten Gillibrand has said the relationship between Hillary Clinton and Monica Lewinsky was characterized by inappropriate abuse of authority, position, and privilege, and she has written that in her letter. But Clinton told interviewers in June 2018 that he had no regrets about how he handled the incident and that he felt no need to apologize privately to his former intern. Impeachment. Despite the fact that the House of Representatives had voted to remove Clinton from office, the Senate had not. President Clinton was impeached for perjury and obstruction of justice in the Lewinsky controversy by the Republican-dominated House of Representatives in December 1998. The Senate, on the other hand, decided to exonerate Clinton on both counts of impeachment in February 1999 after a 5-week trial. Life after the presidency. Clinton has stayed involved in international affairs in the years since his presidency ended in 2001. Although the Lewinsky controversy caused him a great deal of damage, Clinton was able to repair his reputation and maintain his standing among Democratic voters. Many of Clinton's programs have yet to have their full impact revealed in history, so it's difficult to know how successful or unsuccessful he was as president. Preliminary evaluations of Clinton's presidency can be found in his memoir, People's Lives Are the Primary Yardstick by Which I Evaluate My Presidency. As a tally, I counted up all the millions of people who have found new jobs, homes, and college aid, the children who have health insurance and after-school programs, the people who have left welfare for work, families who have been helped by a family leave law, and the people who now live in safer neighborhoods. All of these people have stories and their stories have been improved. The Clinton Initiative. In 1997, he established the William J. Clinton Foundation, which he later renamed the Clinton Foundation. Through this foundation, he established the Clinton Climate Initiative to support climate change research, the Clinton Global Initiative to connect entrepreneurs and world leaders to foster new ideas and action, and the Haiti Fund to aid in the reconstruction of Haiti following the devastating earthquake of 2010. Its stated goal is to eliminate poverty, enhance global health, build economies and safeguard the environment by establishing partnerships among governments, businesses, non-profit groups and private citizens, according to Clinton. His foundation, under Clinton's guidance, has distributed hundreds of millions of dollars from corporations, governments, and private donors to philanthropic organizations with a global focus. Issues dealt with by the group include expanding access to HIV/AIDS drugs and reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Books. Before the 1996 presidential race, he wrote his first book, Between Hope and History, and in 2004, he released his best-selling autobiography, My Life. The President is Missing, 2018, is a political thriller that Clinton co-wrote with James Patterson. She has since released 3 more books, Giving, 2007, Back to Work, 2011, and The President is Missing, 2018. Clinton raised eyebrows during a promotional tour for The President is Missing when he said that a Democratic president in a similar situation would already be facing impeachment because of his analysis of special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation into possible collusion between Donald Trump and Russian agents. Recent years. Clinton played an active part in Hillary's lost 2008 presidential candidacy and, later, in Barack Obama's victorious presidential campaign. Clinton showed his support for the Democratic 2012 election candidates, incumbents President Barack Obama and Vice President Joe Biden, at the 2012 Democratic National Convention. In his speech at the convention, Clinton said that he wanted Obama to be the standard-bearer of the Democratic Party, calling him a president who's cool on the exterior, but who fires for America on the inside. The speech earned wide success for Clinton in the form of good news headlines and social network responses by followers. In November 2013, Clinton received the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest honor bestowed to civilians. Recipients of the medal are chosen for their meritorious contributions to the security or national interests of the United States, to international peace, or to cultural or other major public or private endeavors, according to the White House website. The former president has made several special appearances, including giving the oath of office in 2014 to New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio and eulogizing boxing legend Muhammad Ali in 2016. Hillary Clinton's campaign. Having previously served as Secretary of State under the Obama administration, Hillary eventually launched a new campaign to be elected Commander-in-Chief. In July 2016, she became the official Democratic nominee for the American president, becoming the first woman in the U.S. to win a major political party's presidential nomination. Hillary Clinton, who had previously campaigned on her behalf during the Democratic National Convention, spoke extensively about their relationship and marriage, her civil rights work, her work on behalf of children and the commitment to diversity and the disenfranchised, her professional dedication as a public servant and her overall tenacity. For this time, Hillary is uniquely suited to seize the opportunities and reduce the hazards we confront, and she is still the finest darn changemaker I have ever met, he added in his speech. After one of the most controversial presidential races in U.S. history, during which the Clinton Foundation came under criticism as a pay-for-play service for the rich and powerful, Republican Donald Trump earned the majority of electoral votes and beat Hillary on November 8, 2016. Trump's surprise triumph confounded pre-election surveys and was considered a resounding rejection of conventional politics by blue-collar and working-class Americans. The day following the election, Clinton, daughter Chelsea and her husband, together with vice presidential running partner Tim Kaine and his wife, stood behind Hillary as she made an emotional concession address. Hillary addressed her supporters, "Our campaign was never about one person, or even one election. In the end, it was about the country we all love and how we might make it a more hopeful, open, and generous place. We now know that our country is more fractured than previously believed. However, my faith in America is unshaken, and it always will be. Then, if you accept this outcome, we must look to the future and move on. We have a new president-elect in the form of Donald Trump. It's our duty to provide him an open mind and the opportunity to take the reins. We have a constitutional democracy that guarantees the peaceful transition of power." Private life. The year was 1971, and Clinton had just graduated from Wellesley College when he met Hillary Rodham. In 1973, the two met at Yale and got married in 1975. Chelsea was born in 1980, the only child they had together. Charlotte Clinton Mezvinsky was born on September 26, 2014, when Clinton's daughter Chelsea gave birth. Aidan Clinton Mezvinsky, his second grandchild, was born on June 18, 2016, and Jasper Clinton Mezvinsky, his third grandchild, was born on July 22, 2019. Health. Hillary Clinton's physicians gave her a clean bill of health during her 1992 presidential campaign, but they warned her that he needed to lose weight and that he had minor hearing loss and frequent laryngitis. He had a potentially malignant skin lesion removed from his back and started taking cholesterol-lowering medicine when he was president. Clinton had scar tissue removed from his lungs 6 months after quadruple bypass heart surgery in 2004. His weight loss was much improved by switching to a vegan diet. Some media outlets questioned Clinton's mental and physical health throughout his wife's 2016 presidential campaign. Clinton and his physicians, on the other hand, insist that he is in excellent health. Thank you for listening in Audiobook Academy. Don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button for more content like this. See you in next video.